Hey everyone, welcome to Wax Pack Wisdom. I'm Jake T. O'Donnell. So I'm posting this on Wednesday, August 20th. And if you were coming to Wax Pack Wisdom today expecting to see a new episode of The Hit List with Matt from Providence, I apologize, but that has not been recorded yet this week. Matt and I had some scheduling conflicts. We usually record that Tuesday afternoon. And post Wednesday morning, hoping that we're going to be able to find a time to record a new episode this week. We'll see what happens with that, and I apologize, you're just stuck with boring old me today, but hopefully the next episode of The Hit List with Matt from Providence will be available soon, and it's always fun, and I know people look forward to that, so hopefully we'll have that soon. Again, instead, like I said, you're stuck with me. So I wanted to do a video today, and I don't usually do VRs. I don't usually do video responses to things, but last week and this week, Mike Moynihan, baseball collector, has been collecting something else. He's been collecting people's responses to a prompt that he had, where he's asking folks to come up with their list of the 10 most iconic baseball cards of all time. And as somebody who has loved making lists since I was probably 4 or 5 years old, I figured, why not? I will join in and offer my list of the 10 most iconic baseball cards of all time. Obviously, this is a very subjective thing. At the same time, I tried to be as objective as I could. And I tried to think about what, to me, makes for an iconic baseball card. And I tried to put my own sort of personal feelings about the cards out of it, and whether or not they're cards that I would want in my collection, but just thinking in terms of hobby history going back over 100 years, different eras, and thinking about different players and what they meant to different eras and what the cards meant historically. So this was a big time challenge. There are some really difficult cards that I had to, difficult choices that I had to make to narrow the list down to 10. But I'm happy with what I came up with. But then I'm gonna, after I talk about the 10 cards, I'm going to also list a bunch of other cards that I thought were kind of in contention. And so again, I tried to think about what were the cards that were important in different eras. I looked at cards that are in the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. I also once again referred back to this 1989 High Grade magazine, where there's a list in here of values for sort of the bigger, sort of more iconic vintage cards, like the rare and famous baseball cards list that was on this. I looked at that thinking about, okay, like what was big and popular and well known in 1989, and how does that translate to today and other kind of different eras. So what I decided on ultimately was, like I said, there's 10 cards, and I'm kind of splitting them up in terms of what I would say are like the very obvious picks, then the kind of I think relatively obvious, but still kind of had to make some decisions about whether or not they were going to be on there. And then the last group, which is sort of just the ones that were almost kind of on the bubble. Like I could have switched them out for other cards, but I decided to go with the ones that I went with, and I'll kind of explain why. So the crux of this is that to me, there's 3 very obvious cards. And when I show those and I talk about them, I'll show them up on I'll show them right here. And I'm not going to go into it too much because I just think it's obvious. Then the next ones I'll give a little bit kind of more detailed explanation, but again, I think they should be fairly obvious, the next 3 after that. And then the final 4 are the ones that were the first 4 in from like the rest. I only own, I say only, but of the 10 cards that I'm going to list, I only own one of them, and instead of showing a picture of that, I'm going to actually show the card, and it will end up being the last card of the 10 that I talk about. So without further ado, let's get into my list of the 10 most iconic cards of all time. And first off, T206 Honus Wagner. I don't think I need to explain that much. I mean, to me, these three cards that I'm going to mention here are cards that people, if they don't even know that much about the trading card hobby, or they don't know that much about baseball, they know that these cards exist. So T206 Honus Wagner. 52 Topps Mickey Mantle. And then 89 Upper Deck Griffey. And again, as I mentioned, I only have one of these cards. I do not own an 89 Upper Deck Griffey. I've never owned an 89 Upper Deck Griffey because I very much want to pull one out of a pack someday. And hopefully I will get lucky and be able to do that. So, okay. Then there's the next three. I think that it's fairly obvious that a 1933 Goudey Babe Ruth would have to be on the list of the 10 most iconic cards. It's like the most iconic player ever and the most iconic card of the most iconic player. But then the question is, which of those four make the list? Because there's four, obviously there's four Goudey Ruths. I went with number 144. That is the sort of full body image of him. And the striking Charles Conlon image that it's based off of is probably, it's not, I don't know if it's the most famous Babe Ruth picture, but it's certainly up there. And again, we're talking about what I think is the most iconic. I would love to add a Goudey Babe Ruth to my collection someday, but I personally would prefer the red background. But I decided to go with this one for the purposes of this list. So 33 Goudey Babe Ruth. Okay. Then next, I have 49 Leaf Jackie Robinson. And again, I understand that there's probably some debate about what is Jackie Robinson's best card, and is this a card that like a lot of people are not crazy about the look on his face and that kind of thing. But I think if we're just talking about iconic cards, this is what is considered the rookie card and the most valuable rookie card, the most wanted rookie card of. We're talking about iconic players, the most iconic player of his era, the man that broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball. So I think I had to go with that one to have Jackie represented on the list, and also just to have, I just think it's it is so iconic. And then the last of the sort of this group is I'm putting in the 54 Topps Hank Aaron rookie card. I think it's just for a very long time the home run king in baseball, somebody that was so respected and revered. It's his most famous card. I think that it's a sign of the times. It's a great 50s card. The orange look, sort of, ushering in more colors and things like that into this era in terms of the way that the cards look, and great image. So that one to me was in there. Okay, so now we get to the last four, and these were really tough. And the first one, I did try to limit. I did try to limit this list to. I didn't want the top 10 to have any repeat players, and I really didn't want it to have any repeat sets. But I had to make an exception because I felt like it was really important for Ty Cobb to be on the list, and so I had to pick a Ty Cobb card. And again, we're not talking about which is the one that I would want to own the most, which is what's the most iconic. Because I do have a T206 Ty Cobb. I have the bat on shoulder. But I would argue that the red portrait background is is more iconic, and it is his most iconic card. And I felt like it needed to be on here. Shout out to Greg, Midlife Cards, and Dan's Vintage Baseball PC, who have both purchased red background, old millback Ty Cobbs in the last 6 months, I think, or so, right? So I had to pick that one. I will say this, and it gets into what we'll talk about in the next group in terms of I certainly did consider including Ty Cobb's Cracker Jack card in the top 10. I decided to go with the Joe Jackson Cracker Jack. And again, the image is the same on the front, 14 or 15, doesn't matter. But I thought that an iconic player, world famous player, a mythic player really, like Joe Jackson, deserved to have his best card, which I believe is this Cracker Jack. I think this is one of the prettiest, most best looking cards of all time. Shout out to Jeremy Lee, Sports Card Live, who bought this card. Has an amazing copy of it. So I just thought, important to include the Cracker Jack set, an iconic set, and just like this iconic mythic player that deserved to had to be on this as well. Then again, it's getting tougher. So then my second to last of the 10 is I decided to go with the 33 Delong Lou Gehrig, which was listed on the rare and historic baseball card list in the high grade magazine. I mean, it's a larger than life image of a larger than life player in one of the most unique and interesting sets ever. Just felt like it was really important to have Gehrig represented. And then the last card is this. My 1980 Topps Rickey Henderson. And again, I have it in a SGC 6. I think, again, you go back to that era, the 1980s. I think this was a big chase card at the time. He was sort of the man. Everybody loved Rickey. Just this like superstar, base stealing threat, played the game with such amazing flair, and that this card was just a card I think that everybody really wanted. And certainly when I was growing up in the 90s, this was a card that everybody wanted. So I was super happy to add it to my PC when I got back into collecting a few years ago. So that's my list. So again, T206 Wagner, 52 Mantle, 52 Topps Mantle, I should say, 89 Upper Deck Griffey, 33 Goudey Ruth number 144, 49 Leaf Jackie Robinson, 54 Topps Hank Aaron, T206 Cobb Red Portrait, 1914 or 15 Crackerjack Joe Jackson, 33 Delong Gehrig, and 1980 Topps Henderson. I wanted to just talk about some of the cards that like barely missed this for me. I'm realizing now that I didn't pick any pitchers unless you count Babe Ruth, but I just think that's kind of the way it goes, I guess, is that we think of the hitters as being a little bit more iconic. I did have one of the last cards out for me was the image that's on multiple pre-war cards, like mostly caramel sets of Christy Mathewson, the E92, the E101, the E1012. I mentioned also that the Crackerjack Ty Cobb was a possibility. I also had the T205 Mathewson as a possibility. 33 Goudey Lou Gehrig. 34 Goudey Lou Gehrig was right there too. 49 Bowman and 49 Leaf Satchel Paige. The 51 Bowman Mantle, 52 Bowman Mantle. 51 Bowman Mantle, 51 Bowman Mays. 52 Topps Jackie Robinson, which I think you could argue is his best card. And then the 55 Topps Clemente. That was kind of like my next group down. And then other cards that I wrote on the list when I was coming up with this. 34 Goudey Greenberg, 41 Play Ball DiMaggio, 49 Leaf Page, I think I said that one. 53 Bowman Pee Wee Reese, 53 Topps Mantle, 54 Topps Banks, 55 Topps Koufax, 56 Topps Mantle, 57 Topps Brooks Robinson, 59 Topps Bob Gibson, 63 Topps Pete Rose, 67 Topps Tom Seaver, 68 Topps Nolan Ryan, 68 Topps 3D Roberto Clemente, 69 Topps Reggie Jackson, 86 Donruss Jose Canseco. I felt like that was important to just include in the long list. 1990 Score Reggie Jackson, the chase card, the auto, and then the only card from this century that I had on here was the 2011 Topps Update Mike Trout. If folks have an idea, if they have ideas in their mind of cards from this century that could have been included in this list, let me know, because other than that Trout one, I didn't really think of a lot. Like, I guess maybe you could throw out the 2024 Topps Chrome Update Paul Skeens rookie patch auto, debut patch auto. I think you could argue that card certainly got a lot of attention, and it's a one of one. It's the only card that exists. It's not like this is the thing is I felt like it was important to include guys that you could reasonably own the card, like the Rickey rookie that I put in the top 10, as well as the Griffey Upper Deck rookie. Those are cards that most collectors could acquire, but and I think that accessibility was a little bit important to me. I didn't want it to just be the Wagner and the Mantle and stuff like that. Like, I wanted there to be some accessibility to cards on the list too. So that's it. So that's my list. So thank you, Mike, for doing this. I think it's a great thing. So hopefully, again, like I said, hopefully we'll be back with doing the hit list later this week. I also did win. I was going to leave people in suspense, but if you watch to the end of this video, I will mention it. I did win a card in the REA auction that ended on Sunday night. Hopefully it will be here later this week so I can do a whole video about it. But I got my Ramley Jimmy Collins. It was in the auction in SGC2. I'm very happy with it. I'm very happy with the price I paid on it. After that was a card that I scoured the whole, as much of the National as I could to look for that card, and I didn't see a copy of it anywhere. I was so thrilled to be able to pick that up in the REA auction. So hopefully that comes also this week and I can show it. But that will certainly get its own video because Jimmy Collins is somebody that's worth talking about, especially me as a Red Sox fan. So that's going to do it for this edition of Wax Pack Wisdom. Tell me what you thought. What do you think of my list? Do you think I'm full of crap? Do you think it was a good list? Let me know. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Check out our list of favorite nonprofits and charities. Check out our ComC store. Social media links are in the bio as well. And also, please check out our list of favorite nonprofits and charities. It would mean a lot if you would consider supporting one of them. So thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time on Wax Pack Wisdom. Take care.